What's going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, of course, another LEGO review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the X-Men vs. the Sentinel LEGO set.
Alrighty guys, so here is the fully assembled, of course, X-Men vs. the Sentinel set, and I have to say, overall, this is, in my mind, one of the most disappointing sets that I have ever built. Now, of course, I will explain and try to justify my points and kind of try to really explain why I feel the way that I do, but of course, if you guys disagree, you can definitely use the comment section below to let me know your thoughts on the set as a whole. So let's go ahead and take a look at it in more detail. Alrighty, so first and foremost, of course, we have the Sentinel, or the brick-built Sentinel itself. This was probably the number one disappointing element about this whole thing. I genuinely don't understand why they didn't go with something a little bit better built or give this Sentinel a little bit more attention. It's a very, very important figure in the world of X-Men, so I was a bit disappointed by the way that this character, if you'd like to call it that, was treated. I mean, there are some redeeming qualities. For example, I really do like all the articulation that is present. We have lots and lots of range on the shoulders, on the elbows, thanks to the little ball joint connection. The legs have lots and lots of sway as well. Same goes for the knees, so that's absolutely great. There's also some lovely details, like the print work right here on the chest is actually quite nice. I like that quite a bit. The legs right here, the little boosters are actually simulated quite well, and the other thing that I really like about this character is the way that they pulled off the fingers, and that does look kind of cool. Like, it's definitely nifty looking that we have this kind of a look that they're trying to do with, you know, the fingers and then maybe this acting as a thumb. Now, of course, as you can see, it's still missing, and that's the problem, is that this entire piece feels very incomplete, and it becomes extra, you really kind of understand that, I should say, when I rotate the character to the side, where you can see just how flat and skinny this menacing character really is. This character is supposed to be a huge menace to the X-Men. It is one of the most difficult things that the X-Men deal with on quite a regular basis, but you can see he's so flat, and the back of him is just so exposed with stud details that, I don't know, he just really isn't very menacing. He looks very finicky, and he doesn't feel very oomph. Like, you know, a character of this scale and a character of this importance, in my mind, should be very menacing and well done. This feels very much kind of like a bargain bin find, and that's unfortunate because I really wanted to like it. But Nonetheless, there are some other qualities about it that are quite cool. We have 2 flick-fire shoulder missiles, which are pretty sweet. So, of course, you could go ahead and flick those and send them off at the X-Men or whichever target you would like to set them off against. But it is nice that they added the feature of bringing them in and out. They didn't force you to always have them displayed, so that's quite cool as well. I think the print work actually on the face is quite nice too. That's another little bit of a redeeming quality on that. I definitely do like the way that the face actually turned out. I think it's quite nice. It's not great, but it's definitely nice. And speaking of things that are certainly nice but not great, we have of course the X-Men Blackbird jet, or at least that's what they're trying to go for. Now, to be honest, having seen the X-Men cartoons, the different cartoons like X-Men Evolution, the 90s cartoon and so on and so forth, having seen the films, even the recent films, I don't recall the Blackbird ever looking like this, like a submarine and kind of a peculiar form. So this is obviously some sort of a form that is kind of a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different versions, which is alright. But again, I feel like the Blackbird jet doesn't really have this type of shape. Like, I almost feel like this is more of a submarine than a jet. Now, of course, that's just my opinion, but it just feels a little bit more of a water vehicle than an actual flying vehicle. Maybe it's due to this ginormous tub look or the lack of the wingspan, because we do have a nice wingspan, but it is obviously right here on the back. There's a whole bunch of different fins and wings that they actually use for this. We have, of course, as you can see, these back ones right here, the gray little ones. We have the giant blue ones. We also have these little ones that actually do move up and down and in and out, which is quite cool. So those are at least there, and they have a nice little panel right there, nice little wedge that acts almost like as a filtering system, so that's quite cool. On the outside, other than that, there really isn't much print work or detail except for this little sticker right here, which obviously symbolizes the X-Men, but that's okay because this thing is supposed to be very stealthy and a vehicle that can get in and get out and get the X-Men into the mission and out of the mission in a very quick and efficient manner, so that's okay. We also have these nice little flick-fire missiles, the exact same design as the ones that we see on the shoulders of the Sentinel, except these ones have a nice blue tip instead of the red one we saw on the Sentinel. Now, the best part of this thing, actually, in my opinion, is this silly little item right here. Now, I know some people will probably say that's ridiculous, that it can't be the best part, but I don't know, I really like this mechanic back here. So basically, this is the other defensive element that this piece offers, and basically the way that it functions is it unfolds like so backwards and then slides back up thanks to these 2 little Technic Lego pieces, which is quite cool. And then you have an additional armament on the top of the plane or on the top of the jet, which is really cool. And I don't know, I just really like that because it almost gives the jet a scorpion-like feel, you know, with the scorpion tail ready to strike. And these are actually my favorite types of missiles, the ones that you just press on the back of and they fire away very, very powerfully. Like, I'm not even kidding. These things are ridiculously powerful. Like, the first time that I launched one of these, it was like, what? It took me a little while to actually find it. So those are very, very powerful and quite cool. Now, there are some other qualities to this set, of course, and to this vehicle. More specifically, we have this unfolding cockpit right here, which reveals to us 2 sitting spots along with a nice little Sentinel reading right there. You can see obviously that the Sentinels have been spotted and there's a nice little warning sign there. There's also an additional sticker right here to indicate that this is a dangerous piece. This piece is supposed to come out easily, and it does. Basically, it is set on 2 studs right there, so it pulls out very easily, and the idea behind this piece is that Magneto can control it, send it out, and then toss it at the X-Men or the Sentinel to take him down or them down. The inside of this little box right here actually does have some tools, so obviously it's supposed to be kind of a repair kit or an emergency kit for the Blackbird jet. We have, of course, a nice little fire extinguisher, some other tools in there as well, so that's very nice. And those doors slide in, and you can slide that box right back into place very, very easily, pushing it down and closing that up. And then last but certainly not least, of course, just like practically every plane set that we get, we have an opening cockpit right here, so that piece does click open. It's interesting that it only has about 3 different clicks, like you have closed position, almost open, a little bit further open, and all the way open. So those are the 3 clicks that you get. As you can see here, we have 2 more open spots, so you can actually house all 4 of the minifigures that come with this set inside the Blackbird, which was a very pleasant surprise because I thought that we might get kind of cut short on that. So it's nice that you could house 2 people back there and then 2 minifigures up in the front. There's also some nice detail work right there on the inside, as you can see, some panel lines and such, or panel work with some sort of controls that would probably help to pilot this thing properly. And then of course, as you can see, we have Mr. Scott Summers piloting the Blackbird itself. So next up, of course, let's take a look at the 4 minifigures in this set. Technically, there's 5 figures in the set, but of course, one of them was brick built, and that was the Sentinel. But we do have 4 really, really great minifigures. In fact, I would venture to say that this is the best part of this set, is the 4 minifigures we receive here. I think the vehicle kind of falls a little bit flat. Same goes with the Sentinel, for sure. But the minifigures are absolutely stellar. So we get a little bit of repeat, of course, with Wolverine, but we do have a really fantastic Storm figure right here, who looks very, very stylish. As you can see, she comes with a nice little lightning effects. She has some nice print work on the chest there, very nicely done there. In terms of the X logo and the torso there, looks quite cool. She gets a very unique looking cape, which is really interesting. Of course, as you can see, it's all cloth, so that's really, really nice. The other thing is that's really interesting is that it's one of the sets where we almost had like a transitionary period between the cloth capes and the older capes, like the ones that were more plasticky in nature, or just like a harder fabric, I guess, one that was a lot more wrinkly. It's kind of interesting because we have Magneto with the older cape style, but Storm gets the new cloth style. The only problem is that sometimes the little pieces do slip off of her a little bit, which is a bit unfortunate, but it isn't too bad at all. The other thing that's really cool about Wolverine is that we get 2 different display features for him. Not only can we display him with his hair, but we can actually display him in his cowl, which is also very, very nice. Now, of course, the better look for Wolverine with his cowl is actually to rotate around his other look, because it comes with glasses and it looks better for when you have the actual cowl on, because then he has the pure white eyes, which is a little bit more fitting and looks neater. Now, of course, this Wolverine is the brown and yellow design, which some people may not like, because I know that a lot of people who like this style of Wolverine actually prefer the blue and yellow design. In fact, I am one of those same people, but I think that this minifigure turned out quite well, and I definitely do not mind having a version of Wolverine in this style. I think the weakest figure of the bunch is the one that I haven't spoke of at all yet, and that is, of course, Scott Summers, aka Cyclops. Once again, just like in the X-Men movies, he gets kind of the worst treatment of the bunch. He is just very, very basic. There isn't very much to him. Even on the back here, when we rotate it around, you can see these characters received a little bit more paint work and attention. On Magneto, it's a little bit harder to see because of the cape, but he does also have some detail work on his torso. There's some print work, so it's not just a flat purple color, if you're wondering about that. But that's definitely disappointing about Scott Summers being not a particularly great minifigure. I kind of wish that instead of getting just the print onto his head, like the way that we have it here, I almost wish that it would have been a mask, one that you could pull on and off, similar to something like with the Iron Man minifigures or even with Wolverine here. I think that would have worked a lot better and would have made him stand out a little bit more from the bunch here. But of course, my favorite minifigure is the one that I saved for last, and that is Magneto here, because Magneto is just absolutely stellar. He is just fantastic, very, very cool. I love the helmet look there. In fact, just like with Mr., of course, Wolverine, we could do the same thing and equip him with his helmet. The really neat thing is that how they try to create the element of him carrying his helmet. You know how it's very popular for him to kind of float with his helmet in hand. So you just use a nice little 1x1, I guess, tube or cylinder, and then you can't see it. So it's a nice little illusion there, which is quite cool. But obviously, with that helmet on, I mean, come on, there's Magneto. He has come to life, and he is ready to rumble and tumble with the X-Men or with the Sentinel, whatever it needs, whatever needs to be done. He is ready to rock, and he is certainly ready to roll. And he just looks really cool. I love that classic purple and red outfit, just very over the top, but I think it looks very cool on him. In terms of other looks for these characters, in terms of faces and such, Storm does get another face. Of course, you saw Wolverine's other face already. The same goes for Magneto. He also receives another face as well. So if I just remove his helmet right there, you can see we have 2 more angered looks. So we have Storm when she's probably raging the storm and she's bringing the lightning, and then the same thing goes for Magneto. So, all in all, is this a very disappointing set? No, it really isn't. I think I maybe harped on it a little bit more than I should have. Maybe I was a little unfair to it. But I also have to be honest with you guys and tell you that I was disappointed by this set. Maybe that comes from the fact that I had my expectations so high for this really cool X-Men set, and then because of that I was disappointed, more so because of my personal expectations for it. But I also feel like this set really suffers from the parts count that it has. I think that had this set been around the 700 piece count or somewhere in there, I think we would have got an absolutely stellar Sentinel figure, an absolutely fantastic Blackbird, and these 4 fantastic minifigures. I honestly, as much as I would rather to pay less for Lego and such, and I do admire the fact that we had this set at a pretty decent price, I think I would have preferred to have a quality Sentinel, a quality Blackbird, and then of course these 4 pretty cool minifigures. I would definitely like a little bit of an upgrade to Cyclops, and I would have rather to pay a little bit pricier, like let's say in the $70 range or the $80 range, but receive actually quality representations, Lego representations of these iconic vehicles and creatures. That being said, of course, there you guys have it. That is another Lego review in the books. If you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit that like button. By the way, I wanted to let you guys know, of course, if you want to see more Lego reviews and some Lego reviews that I'm going to be doing in a bit of a different style very shortly, definitely subscribe to Blitz Toys, aka MP Toys or Maximus Primus Toys. There will be a link in the description box below where you can check it on out. And as always, guys, have an absolutely fan-flippin-tastic day. I will indeed catch you lovely folks next time. Peace out. See you laters, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.